Is good. Zebra is coming to town. They're an 80s band, but they're going to Galuppi's on December 14th. I will be there. Who's behind the door, baby? Yeah. It's a little rock and roll for you. It's all right. Safid, I'm just I'm in another place right now. I'm on my Bitcoin bull run right now. So
Okay. You
it's
said this. You said the Zebras. I thought the refs from the Eagles game were coming to town again, man.
no. Those guys will get a foot up their ass. They come to town. Zebras get my support. Those other zebras aren't going to get my support.
Now you notice on the Monday Night Football game we didn't have no crappy calls, right?
Yeah, no, there was no crappy calls. Although, again, I'm not blaming the loss on the referees at all, dude. Okay, Tua threw an interception. Tyreek dropped a touchdown. The defense.
Logan's missed a huge tackle. That led to a touchdown. Yeah,
there's a shitload of mistakes in there that they could have put themselves in position to win that game. So I get it. The referees sucked and all that. Even the Cedric Wilson non-call. Okay, if that does happen and you get the call, do you ever get the pick six? Probably not.
Probably not. You don't know if you even score after the Cedric Wilson thing. Also, right. But it would have been nice to have like a holding call on for the defense, push the Eagles back a little bit. Maybe the game changes there. Nice to have
get held. I saw Jalen Phillips get held.
Yeah. Okay. It would have been nice to have one of those calls to see what would happen after the Eagles had to punt maybe instead of push down the field. It'd been cool to see if Kohu got AJ Brown down on 4th and 2 or 3rd and 2, 2 yards instead of 1 yard, for them to go push. Even though that Eagles team, they see 4th and 3, they'll probably go for it because they can get those 3 yards.
So let me ask you, by the way, somebody's asking here. He says, hearing Ramsay has a good chance to play Sunday against New England. What are you hearing, Big O? I'm not hearing that.
Yeah.
I know it was brought up in the press conference, but I haven't seen, is anybody reporting that? Because I haven't seen anybody credible reporting that.
This reminds me of like my friends in my group chat. They're like, oh, I heard this. What do you think about it, Safid? Look, Ramsay's going to take some time. Ramsay's still going to take some time. Yeah, you heard it, huh? Cool. That's cool, man. My sisters, cousins, brothers, uncles, friends, who knows the equipment guy for Nova, who used to work at the Dolphins' old facility, now works at the new one, all that stuff, man. Right. Look, Jalen Ramsay's going to take a little while longer, but he does look okay. Looks good. There was some pregame video. I think Josh Holtz posted it. Shout out to Josh Holtz. Of Ramsay doing some, running backwards, cutting to the sideline, all those things. Just miraculous comeback overall for that guy. I mentioned this before. Jalen Ramsay is probably one of the most athletic, freakishly athletic people that I've ever covered, college and NFL. When I covered him at FSU, you could see it because he was a track star as well. He was a very, very accomplished athlete. I still stand on this. I think Jalen Ramsay is probably the second best athlete to ever come out of Florida State behind Deen, just because of his body and how he can really, really just be how twitchy he is. Excuse me. He's such a twitchy, long guy. Range, that corner is the best. Corner is a great position for him. Defensive back. It's great to have him on defense. Right, even though he can go dunk the ball on you, we saw preseason. He's going up and down the court and dunking the ball, and who knows, he probably could be a good wide receiver if you put him out there. I've seen him return kicks in college too. But look, Ramsey's going to take a little while. There's no rush to put him back in this New England game. Maybe the Chiefs game, there's a little bit of rush there, sure, or some reason why you want to. Honestly, the Chiefs, though, outside of Kelsey, all those other targets are just so. It's hard to keep track of all of them. They got Tony, they have Rice, they got Hardman back. It's a couple other guys down on the mix that you have, Gray, you have another tight end there. They have so many other guys, Valdez Scanling, I didn't even say his name. They have so many guys under Kelsey that, it's so hard to pinpoint which is a receiver you're going to have him in unless he's going to come and defend Travis Kelce, which I don't like either.
No, I
So
been. I think you bring. I think he plays in that KC game because I also think they want to get over that good team hump thing.
yeah,
And I could see X also being even held out this week too.
hold him out.
And keep those and bring those two guys back together and see what you got now and kind of build up the confidence a little bit. But he looks so good that 2 weeks of practice, if there are no setbacks and no soreness, I think he ends up playing in that Kansas City game. I think that's what they're targeting, right? Listen, the fact that the coach brought up that whole thing about you can't beat good teams, that it's on their minds.
Yeah, they know. You appreciate the fact that Mike says that.
That's
Another
right.
coach would probably say something else. Oh, it was just another game, this and that. No.
Flo would have never given you anything.
Yeah, you don't like, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. And I don't like being bullshitted, right? And don't tell me anything like that when we all know what's going on, That just shows that you have a lack of either what's really going on or you're just going to lie to our face. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or you have no answer. You really have no answer, right? That's why you would lie about it. Whereas this coach is trying to find answers to everything, which is great.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. What did you think of that statement he made where he kind of told the team, hey man, we're either going to get hyped or we're going to be told that we can't beat the good teams. Now, if you had that conversation prior to the game, this is the part of the psyche of the team that I wonder about. So the team knew going into that game, and they should have known if you had half a brain, that hey, you're going to be looked at as a team that is kind of fraudulent. You really can't beat the tough teams if you can't win this game. And they could not match that challenge. So what does that say? Or does that say anything?
It says they have plenty of room for improvement. The problem with this Dolphins team that I've covered since 2020, every time they've gone on a winning streak, they get really big, man. They get a little big headed sometimes. And then they get brought down to earth. And it doesn't matter how many times they need to be brought down to earth. It just is an endless cycle that just kind of keeps repeating. You look, they lost 7 straight games and they won 7 straight games, and the guys were like, "Oh yeah, we're a better team now." Are you?
Right.
Going into the season, they lost just as many games as they won. I think it's 28 and 26 the last couple of years, right? Even with Tua in the lineup. So it's a real. This isn't one of those like, when a bad team loses a bad game, like, and they're like 2-5 or something, and they need to look each other in the mirror, this and that. I think the Dolphins need one of those moments, instead at 5-2, instead of, kind of being like, oh, we just took a loss. Oh, we'll have some guys back. Oh, we didn't get some calls from the refs. We'll be okay moving forward. I think this is a little bit of inward looking that the Dolphins have to do here. When I rewatch this Eagles tape, I see all of this right here, Big O. Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa. A.J. Brown was a better star receiver than Tyreek Hill, right? Jalen Carter was a better D tackle than Christian Wilkins. Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat were better on the edges than Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips was, right? Even Big Play Slay was the best defensive back on the field because he made the play that Holland, even though he got hurt, and those corners didn't do. Kohu did really good making some tackles, yes, bringing the guy down. Did not get torched like he did against Stephon Diggs, which is very encouraging. Very encouraging from that standpoint. But and most of all, Nick Sirianni was a better coach than Mike McDaniel on that night, right? Yeah. The run game did not get going at all, and they still tried to keep it going, which was kind of a bad situation right there, right? You would like to see them kind of get to the situation where they were kind of in the Chargers game where they would run a little bit, but Tua was throwing the ball the whole game. Tua's best play of the game, obviously, was that first touchdown on Tyreek Hill. I don't know if you saw it, Big O. That was the Alabama play. That was the title game play. They sent Tyreek on a go route. Yeah, they sent Tyreek on a go route. It was probably 20 yards closer than the game-winning play, but they sent Tyreek on a go route like Devontae Smith ran in the title game, and Tua just lofted it up there, no problem. So that was in the books for them, and that's when they got up to 10 points right before halftime. But I just, you know, they have to figure out how tough they are. They have to stop getting their heads big after a couple wins over teams that they should beat. And they have to really figure out how to beat these tough teams, man. I don't know how the Chiefs game is going to look for these guys. I'll be very honest. I need to go and take a look at what the second half of the season brings, but they're in really great position right now. The only thing that sucked is that the Chiefs won last week, and you let them get ahead of you in the standings, sure, and you're ahead of Buffalo in the standings still. That's probably the only positive that happened, is that you're ahead of the Bills still because they lost.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. By the way, in that speaking of Tua, and I know you rewatched that the biography or the prophecy in the making thing, that anticipatory throw he threw in the end zone, that shit was sick
Mm-hmm.
because there was a whole bunch of traffic going both directions, and for him to put that ball there, knowing that the receiver was coming across, that's the kind of shit that just people at that level, most quarterbacks can't do that.
No, you're
Most
talking about
actually 70% of the NFL can't do that throw.
I would say 80, maybe even
Maybe.
85.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't. A lot of people can't. A lot of people read and react. A lot of people throw after they see the window open, and Tua is the one that throws before the window opens.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see Tua from a quarterback mastery standpoint, up there with Mahomes, up there with Burrow. When those guys are on, Tua's on. When those guys are on like that, it's hard to stop them because they are so effective with how they move the ball.
Yeah, man. That was really really impressive to see that overall. All right, your thoughts on Hard Knocks?
I love it. I think it's a great idea. I think everybody that thinks it's a distraction, soft. You're soft. Get out of here with that, okay? I don't want to hear that it's a distraction. They're distracted by everything in the world, okay? And the Dolphins are doing enough as it is. Tyreek has his own podcast that he's distracting himself with every day, right? Or whenever he is Twitch streaming this and that. Other guys have things going on too off the field. Fine. It's a brand thing for the Dolphins, man. You got to realize this brand is very strong. It's very global. They're going to Germany to play a game. Mike said that they're going to join the team, I believe, for the Germany trip or maybe after it. We'll see about that. But look at the Dolphins, man. This is an opportunity for them and their stadium, Hard Rock Stadium, to be on HBO again and to kind of show themselves all out to the world as a worldwide brand. This is, obviously Steve Ross and Tom Garfinkel's, doing as well because, obviously Tom loves to have the Dolphins brand out there in the open. They're look at all the overhead views of the stadium and the F1 track during the Miami Open for those tennis fans, for F1, a worldwide event that happens every May now for the Dolphins, where people are checking out the Dolphins brand. And then you have HBO where people are going to stream it whenever the show is available. I believe Tuesday nights it will be. So you're going to get a lot of Mike. Mike's really quirky, great personality. Tua obviously is who he is. Tyreek Hill's going to get some love. I can imagine some other players will get some really nice previews or profiles by the show that we'll see, and you'll learn something about your favorite players that you don't know about. But I don't think this is a distraction for the team. I just hope it all goes well for them as well.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, dude. I mean, who's to say how it's going to go? In the end, you're going to perform like what your team is.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Hard Knocks or whatever is going to determine who you are. Look, man, I tweeted this out yesterday, okay? Because, sometimes you just need perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Tua lost to Josh Allen and the Bills, and now he lost to Hurts and the Eagles. Is it because Tua can't do the job? No, dude. It's that Tua didn't have the better team. And there's a reason why Marino got his ass kicked by Jim Kelly and the Bills for many years. And there's a reason why he got his ass kicked 62-7 in his final game. And there's a reason why he lost in the Super Bowl to Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers. It wasn't that he was a lesser quarterback than those guys. It's just that Jim Kelly's team was way better than his team and could dominate the line of scrimmage. and that San Francisco had a D line and an O line that could dominate the line of scrimmage, and that the Jags team with Mark Brunell could never be in the same sentence with Dan Marino. But on that day, Mark Brunell's line and offensive line were 100 times better than Dan Marino's offensive and defensive lines. And so it's interesting that if you just want to go through the history, which I've freaking lived it and covered it and all, the math doesn't change, dude.
Yeah.
You dominate the line of scrimmage, you win this game. I don't care what era of football it is, 80s, 90s, or 2023. The same shit that happened to Marino just happened to Tua twice this year. So until you can win the line of scrimmage, more often than not, you're going to lose, dude.
Yeah. And I would say, look, for both these games, Jalen Phillips, I don't remember how much he played during the Bills game, if he did play. But in this Eagles game, he didn't play as much, but he did play, right? And the opportunities that he did play, he did really well. They had a sack, and another pressure that he had led to a fumble that Wilkins recovered. So look, Jalen Phillips is probably not yet 100%. But when he does, this guy is going to be the reason why you have a little wrecking crew on your defensive line. Christian Wilkins needs to step it up. I like what I've seen from Zach Sealer so far. I like what I've seen from Andrew Van Ginkel so far. Bradley Chubb is coming around the corner. We'll see how much more around the corner he comes. You like what you see from some of the other guys that are holding it down on the back end.
By the way, let's defend Chubb here, because I've been also part of, hey, bro, you're stealing money without a gun and a mask. At least he had a good game this week against a really good team, because we kept saying, well, you played well against those shitty teams the last couple of weeks. What are you going to – he's one of the guys that did step up against the Eagles. So we got to give him a little love. Okay?
He's got to step up a lot more too, because this is his defense.
I get it.
This is his defense. But look, I think Jalen Phillips is going to be the one that really has to carry this defensive line when he's back to 100%. He's going to really push those guys and get the other guys in better position. An offensive line too. Armstead, man, come back when you can. Come back in December. You don't need him in late November. I need to run Armstead for the playoffs. I don't care about him week 10 through 14. So, take his time there. Connor Williams obviously brings a lot more stability to the run game. So getting him back as soon as possible is probably a little bit better there too. They're going to figure out their guard situation. Obviously they had some couple guys play in the game here, but Robert Hunt and Austin Jackson have been playing really, really well. You kind of thank the heavens for that from a Dolphins perspective, because those are 2-year draft picks working out just fine there. In the run game, look, Raheem Mostert got bottled up this game. Some games he might get bottled up. Some games he might let loose like he has been the first couple weeks of the season. I think you would see a little bit more of what happened against the Eagles game for the rest of the year versus what you've seen in the first 7 weeks. But, there's a way to scheme that up and have him open. And it's just now in getting the other players that are new to the roster into the offense. You got not David Long, excuse me. You have, Julian Hill, Chase Claypool, all those guys making really good blocks in the run game during the game on Sunday. Those guys are going to get a little bit more comfortable, get a little bit more action, have some more, roles to play in this team moving forward. But I think the Dolphins, hopefully they look themselves in the mirror after this game and figure it out, man. They're on Sunday Night Football, all eyes on them, and they kind of laid a little bit of an egg. Tyreek had the drop, like you said. Tua didn't play that bad, but he had the pick on the route that Waddle didn't throw. Wilkins missed a big tackle, a huge tackle, but so did Bradley Chubb, man. And then look who we're asking them to go tackle, Jalen Hurts, who's a very, very good quarterback and was an MVP candidate, right? So they did all right. They're not going to have to see the Eagles again. They won't see them again until the Super Bowl. Hopefully they got it figured out by then, right? But they're doing pretty good in the conference, man, because they've been 5-2. They have more wins in the AFC right now than the other teams, the Eagles, the Ravens. So they're number 2 seed right now, but all that's going to shake out and be a different picture later on this season. So Dolphins got to continue to take that upward path, get a win over the Patriots, who are not going to be easy out because we just saw what they did to the Bills last week. But still, to win those boys, they do a lot better against the Patriots than they do against any other
Dude,
team.
the line went down a whole point. It was 10.5 yesterday, went down to 9.5. I said yesterday, you got to bet Patriots. That's the value right now.
I take a little bet on that.
There's no way I'm giving 10.5 points to the Patriots. I expect the Dolphins to win that game, but I would not be surprised if they only win that game by 4, 5, 6, 7 points.
I would give New England the points if it's that much of a margin. But look, they play them tough always, and the Dolphins, they know how to play the Patriots, so you're not kind of worried about their mindset going into it. Yeah. They're not going to overlook these guys.
All right, follow him on Twitter.
Come after a loss.
Follow him on Twitter at Safid_Deen and catch his work there at the USA Today. Safid, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up later on in the week.
Thank you, Big O. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, sir. There you go. The great Safid Deen and our BaptistHealth.net/ortho Miami Dolphins report. And folks, you don't need to be a professional athlete to go where the pros go. The doctors at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care can see you now. Visit BaptistHealth.net/ortho to request an appointment and get yourself back in the game. And if you have an injury that's keeping you from doing what you love, take charge of your health, get back into the game with the help of the all-pro staff at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.